So at one time I ran out of water and I was feeling so thirsty. There was nowhere you can get water. There are no swamps there. So that one really scared me. I was dehydrated.
Did you wish you had marina water?
Oh, yes.
Today we are very privileged to have with us on set a very special guest who I met on the trails, and I will ask her to introduce herself. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. My name is Mary Mwenda. I'm a business owner. We package water. Our brand is called Marina, and that's what I do when I'm not on the trails. We also do refills where we are doing our business. Thank you.
So thank you, Mary, for making time to come to the set. I'm grateful for your presence. Okay. I believe we'll learn a lot from you. Before we proceed, maybe tell us a little bit about your childhood, growing up, as far back as you feel comfortable. Were you an active child? And what was your relationship with the physical activity then?
Okay. I believe my childhood was very active. I was an active child. You know, during our time, there were no phones. The TVs, I think it was just one channel. So we usually were spending our time outdoors. So the normal childhood games in our times.
So climbing mountains is not a common sport. What motivated you to start mountain climbing?
We used to do a few walks with my neighbors. We did a few mountains, but it was not very serious. So last year when I was recuperating at home after surgery, I decided to do something about my health and about my body and do something different, because it was like I was given another lease of life. So I decided to climb Mount Kenya before I'm 50, but I found myself doing it before I'm 49.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yes.
So maybe take us through your experience on some of the mountains. I'll let you choose which ones, because you have done many.
I loved Satima. Satima has very beautiful scenery. Longonot is very challenging. I also did Elephant Hills. It is very, very tough. I was hit by altitude sickness during that time, but I loved the experiences. Okay. Yes, yeah.
What about the major mountains? Because you've climbed Mount Kenya, Mount Kilimanjaro. Tell us about your experience on those ones. Maybe we start with Mount Kenya.
Mount Kenya experience was very nice. I tried the ceremony route the first time. I did not summit because of the weather. It rained so heavily and it was snowing. So I did again early this year in March, and I used the Chogore route and I loved it. Chogore route has very beautiful sceneries, and I had to summit because it was a personal thing that I was doing with myself. So I had made up my mind that I must submit, and I submitted.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell us about your experience on climbing Mount Kilimanjaro.
Wow. Mount Kilimanjaro was very good. It was a 7-day expedition. And because I love nature, I wanted to spend time away from my phone and spend time with the real people. That's where we spend most of the time with you. It was a beautiful experience, very, very tough. I did not manage to summit, but I reached Barafu camp.
Okay.
Yes.
So, what do you think made you not summit Mount Kilimanjaro?
On the 6 days, it was very nice. But on the 7th day where we were going to summit, I believe it was very tiring. It was very far from the camp. And by the time you get to Kosovo, you're already tired.
What is Kosovo?
Kosovo is a camp that is after Barafu. It's a camp there where before now you start summiting the mountain. So I believe if I had spent my night at Kosovo, I would have made it, because it's a very long distance. The weather was very tough. And also there were some of the guides who were very, very discouraging. They discouraged us because I think they wanted the performance rather than enjoying the trail. And already one of the lead guys was asking me, "Are you sure you're going to make it?" So already they had put doubts in myself.
And you believed them?
I believe them, unfortunately. Yes.
So what are some of your most scary or the worst moments you've had on the trail in your mountain climbing journey?
I think my worst was the Barranco Wall
On which mountain?
on Mount Kilimanjaro. There were some rocks and very, very scary places to climb. That was my worst. I was so scared of the heights because you could see where you're coming from and where you're going. It was my worst experience. I cried. I cried when I was climbing those stones.
Out of fear or out of joy?
No, out of fear, definitely. Definitely out of fear.
Did you consider turning back at Barranco Wall?
I almost did, but the guides were very, very helpful. They actually pushed me. You have to do this. so I did it, but it was very scary.
It was very scary.
That's where I conquered some of my fears. Yes.
Congratulations for conquering Barranco Wall.
Thank you.
And what about your best moments on the trail?
My best moments were talking to real people. I'm glad I met you when you were at one of the hills and mountains. It's very good and therapeutic to just get away from this busy, especially me because I'm in business. I always might find myself taking calls, doing this, fixing things. So I really enjoyed the trails because I was just with myself, with my thoughts, with real people, having real discussions. So I enjoyed that time of hiking.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Truly, meeting Mary was one of the best things that happened to me on the trails. We first met in the Aberdare Ranges. These are mountains in roughly central Kenya at the Table Mountains.
Yes.
And then we met again at Rurimeria, which is another mountain in the Aberdare Ranges. And then we met in Kilimanjaro, where we spent a lot of time together.
Yes, yes.
And this is because our hiking speed was almost the same. So we found ourselves talking and catching up and encouraging each other on the trail.
Yes.
Now, having been to both Mount Kenya and Mount Kilimanjaro, how do you compare the summit push?
Mount Kenya was not very, very tough. I think because there was time. There was no turn back time that was very, very fast. But Kilimanjaro, it was very pushy. It was very pushy. Honestly, I think if I would go back, I would do it differently.
You do it differently.
Yes, yes.
What about the sanitation on Mount Kenya and Mount Kilimanjaro? How do they compare?
Mount Kenya is bad. There are no washrooms on the trails, definitely. I loved Kilimanjaro because even on the trails, you could find some washrooms. It was good. Even at the camps, it was good. I don't think the physical washrooms in Mount Kenya trail, you would be given a hole to go and dig a hole and do your business. But at Mount Kilimanjaro, at every camp, there are toilets and there are washrooms. So I think Mount Kilimanjaro is good.
It's good.
Yes.
Do you think there's anything maybe the authorities on Mount Kenya can learn regarding sanitation?
A lot.
Maybe give us just one.
I think they need to do some washrooms. Definitely. Definitely some washrooms would do good at Mount Kenya.
So thank you for affirming that. And I'm hoping somebody from Kenya Wildlife Services is listening.
Yes, maybe something has changed after we left. I'm not sure. I've not been able to find out.
So if you're watching this and you've recently been to Mount Kenya,
yes,
please give us a comment down below on the state of washrooms, if they have new ones or not.
Sure.
So during your many expeditions to different mountains, have you ever encountered altitude sickness?
Yes, I have.
Okay, tell us about your experience with altitude sickness and on which mountain.
Amazingly, my altitude sickness is when I'm going down, not when I'm up. And usually because I move too fast. You know, when you're done with something and you're finished, you feel like you've conquered. So I have had mountain sickness on 3 mountains. The first one was Longonot. It was too hot, and I think I didn't carry enough water. So when I went back to the vehicle, I didn't have water, nothing, and I came down very fast. So I felt like I'm going to faint. I had a headache. I had nausea. It was getting too hot. So I had to take time and cool down. And I couldn't get water on the bus. Nobody had the water. So it was very tough for me during long or not time. But with time, by the time we go to Nairobi, I was feeling better. But it was my first time to get altitude sickness. And it was very tough for me. The second time is when I went to Kijabi. I think I had layered too much. It was too hot. And when I was going down, it hit me so badly. I felt like I was going to faint. And I think I slept for like 10 minutes. That's when I felt my body had cooled down. And I started the journey back to the vehicle. At that time, I had altitude sickness. It's at Elephant Hills. And also I came down very fast because it was already getting late. And I had to get to the bus before it got dark. The same thing. You feel nausea, you feel like you have a very bad headache, and it helps when you take water. So mostly you have to have a lot of water when you're hiking, especially the hot places.
Okay.
Yes. I've never had altitude sickness when I'm going up, even at the highest mountains. But coming down is when I feel it because you're walking too fast. I think the body doesn't adjust so fast.
Okay.
Yes.
So what about Mount Kenya? Did you get any altitude sickness?
No, I did not, but I couldn't access water for some hours. So the altitude sickness hit me the following day after I got home.
Okay.
Yes.
What about Mount Kilimanjaro? Did you encounter altitude sickness?
I did not, amazingly.
Amazingly.
Yes.
That's really amazing because for me, I was really hit hard at about 5,000 meters.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So on Mount Kilimanjaro, at the point which you turned back, how are you feeling?
I think I had the energy to go on. I think when people start putting doubts on you, I've never been to Kilimanjaro, so I didn't know what was up there. And the lead guy told me, up there is worse. If you can't make it past this, I think I had done like 5,000.
Yeah, I think
just
so
slightly after like Mount Kenya. And then I didn't know what's up there. So when somebody tells you, are you sure you're going to make it? You're like, I might die up there, so let me go back.
You might. Yeah.
Yes.
What time did you turn back on Mount Kilimanjaro? Approximately.
I think it was around 5 a.m.
5 a.m.
Yes.
So that means you had really gone far.
I had, yes.
And what time did you get back to the base camp, Barafu camp?
That was around 9 a.m. Yes, it's quite a distance.
So you had really gone far.
I had.
Because I think the first people in our group summited at 9.
Oh, wow.
So it means by the time you are getting to base camp, they were getting to the summit.
I think I went and slept. I didn't know what happened after that. Yes.
So will you return to Mount Kilimanjaro?
Wow. Definitely, yes, I will. Yes.
Why?
Number one, I believe I still have unfinished business with that mountain. And I'm the kind of person who has to make it if I have put my mind into it. So I will definitely go back.
And if you return, what will you do differently?
Number one, I'll be mentally prepared that I'm going no matter what. Number two, I think I'll do layering better.
Okay.
I think I had too much baggage with me. And you know, even in real life, when you have too much baggage, you can't move on. So I will layer better. And definitely I'll sleep closer. There's a camp called Kosovo. I think I'll spend the night there so that I can start a bit higher.
Yes. So it means you need to agree with your service provider.
Yes.
Early in advance.
Yes.
where you are spending the last night.
Yes, because I think they usually have a target of, or I think it's a schedule where to sleep. But since now I know, I must sleep closer to that camp called Kosovo.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for that. And what will you tell somebody who wants to climb a mountain?
Definitely climbing is mental more than physical. You have to be mentally prepared, and also you have to be physically fit so that you are able to conquer. And layering is very important. Dress well for the occasion. You're not going to a party, you're going to hike a mountain.
So thank you very much, Mary, for that very insightful discussion.
Thank you, Nancy.
I believe you have added value to us and encouraged somebody who wants to climb a mountain.
Yes.
And we are mountaineers, so we are not scared of the rain.
No. We are dressed for the rain.
Yes.
Yes.